Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome home. There is in this place the possibility of healing, of repair, of making things right within ourselves, between us and the wider world. We gather around this light of hope as we share this time together. Amen, Ashe, and may it be so.
Good morning and welcome. And we have first our prelude. Good morning and welcome. It feels good to be back. It's a whole lot warmer here than from the country I left, but it's nice to be here. And Jackie, I am especially happy that you are here because we've got two ravens here and I needed help. So I am so glad you're here, Jackie. Jackie is a rip-roaring Kansas City girl. So at least we're even numbered now. We have first of all our announcements. We have a few. Next Sunday, Mary Peacock will be speaking to us. She works with the North Carolina Council of Churches as a domestic violence advocate. She will be speaking on domestic violence and the faith community and how we should respond and what we could do. Do you know that nearly 20 people every minute are physically abused by an intimate partner? And did you know that one of the first places people turn to are their church communities? So the North Carolina Council of Churches has set up this group, this organization to deal and work with domestic violence. So we look forward to hearing her next Sunday. We have a lot planned for February. On February the 11th, Angela Gala does youth meditation, and she's going to talk to us about at Valentine's about loving ourselves. We talk a lot about loving other people, caring for other people, but she's going to talk to us about loving ourselves. Corey Easterly from Current Initiatives will be speaking on the 18th about giving hope to communities. February 25th, we're going to look at our extravagant welcome. What do we really mean when we say those words? And how can we better fulfill those words that we speak? So we've got an exciting month ahead. Social Justice Book Club, February the 1st, 7 o'clock. Thomas, can you tell us what pages are to be read by then?
Yeah, we're going to read through page 80,
Through page
which
80.
is midway through chapter 2.
All right, the 100 Years' War on Palestine, a very timely topic that perhaps we all need to learn more about. All right, I want to introduce you to this fella. This comes from Hug, our food shelter, and I want to read you what they sent me about him. There are a few reasons I would sleep in my office on a rigid cot in a huge abandoned warehouse with no heat or hot water and only 3 to 4 hours of actual rest each night. Junior is one of them. This sweet boy had an amazing life with a family that literally adored him. He had a home, a fluffy dog bed, and even his own Instagram account. And then life happened. His family fell on hard times. His dad had an accident that resulted in him losing his job and requiring several toes to be amputated. His mom became disabled after losing total vision in one eye. Neither of them could comfortably walk him for the time and distance needed. And then came the eventual eviction. They found themselves homeless in the coldest months of this brutal Charlotte winter. So, in the most gut-wrenching, heartbreaking, and yet beautiful act of love I've ever seen, they decided to give him up because his happiness and quality of life mattered more to them than their own. It was excruciating to watch. They brought to our food shelter his bowls, his food, his toys, his favorite treats, and said the most painful goodbye we have ever seen. Walking to the parking lot after, where they literally sat in their car and cried together for more than half an hour. There is an Instagram set up and it says, "I'm just a pit bull trying to get it how I live. Follow me in my growth. Mom and Dad really love me. I'm their dog, but they're my dogs too." Hug wants to rehome this wonderful fellow. He spends the night and Brittany is staying there. He has been made friends with her dog. He gets along well with other dogs. They have promised the family that they would find a good, loving home for Junior. She says, "We swore we would make sure he had the quality of life that they sacrificed huge pieces of their hearts and soul to give him." So here is Junior. He's the smartest, clumsiest, most loyal and loving dog you will ever meet. We're taking care of his vaccinations. We've gotten him neutered, along with doing behavior tests, which he passes with flying colors. He's great with Murph, another dog, learns commands so quickly, has no food aggression, and loves every human he comes across. He's crate trained and housebroken and will make someone the luckiest dog owner in the world. If you would love to have this dog in your home or know somebody who's looking for a dog, please consider Junior. Contact me, contact Hug, and let's see if we can help Junior find a good home. It's hard on a dog to be rehomed and taken from his family. So it's been hard on him too, but he's just delightful. And Brittany's keeping him in the office and spending the night there with him because she doesn't want to leave him alone. So, if you know anybody or you're interested, it would be wonderful to help Junior find a new family. And another story from Hearts United for Good, our food pantry. Last night, Stephen and I had an experience that went from worrisome to terrifying to heartbreaking. It's a story that needs to be told. We were working late in the office, and Stephen had gone out to another loading dock to throw some trash in our dumpster. As he did, he ran across something that bothered him. I noticed he wasn't right when he came back inside and he told me he had found someone sleeping on the side of our building. As this is a regular occurrence, I was confused as to what was different, other than the dangerous temperatures that evening. He told me he found someone we didn't know, passed out completely, directly on the concrete. No blanket, no gloves, no jacket, no coat. His pants loosened down around his knees, with his head tucked between two piles of pallets. He said he tried to wake him, but even the train passing by didn't make him budge. He said he was breathing and had a little hand movement. Before coming to get me, he put a blanket and a heavy sleeping bag over him and came inside. We knew there was no way in hell we could leave him outside like that. We talked about calling for emergency services, but decided to head back out there with him and some supplies and a flashlight and a soft styrofoam mat to try and at least coax him off the concrete. We approached slowly and gently, trying to wake him. We kept the flashlight dim and spoke to him quietly, letting him know it was too dangerous to be sleeping on the concrete, and we were there to help him. He began to stir. He pushed the blanket off of his shoulders, and then he woke up, swinging wildly, trying to scramble to his feet to attack. Stephen and I continued to assure him we were just checking on him, that we wanted to help. We wanted to make sure he was okay. We moved around enough for him to wake up a little more and get a better understanding of who we were and why we were there. He was still mumbling incoherently, but then he sat back down and said three things clearly, the first of which hurt my heart, and the other smashed it to pieces. "Where am I?" he said. "You're by the train tracks, right off Tryon, buddy," I told him. "Oh, that sounds right," he said sadly. And then, with a brief pause, he looked at Stephen and said, "Am I dead?" Even though there was no sound, I heard Stephen's heart break at the very same time mine did. And the way he asked told us that he would probably have rather heard yes than no. "You're not. You're okay. It's just super cold. We want you to know we care," Stephen said. He waved us off, still orienting himself, and we didn't want to agitate him any further, but we felt better knowing he was okay, that he had our supplies with him to get through the night, and he was alive. Went back a little later and dropped a bag a few feet from him with some warmer clothes, gloves, hat, socks, and some snacks, along with my card and Stephen's to contact us. When I did, I noticed something. He had moved. He was on the mat, the styrofoam mat we had given him. He was wrapped in the blankets we had given him. He was up off the concrete with his hands and bodies tucked into the sleeping bag. The point of this story is remembering that we can save people in all kinds of ways with big and even small gestures, whether it's for a lifetime or just helping them get through one night. They need blankets, they need sleeping bags, gloves, warm things, as you see on this post here. If you have blankets or sleeping bags you can take to them, please do, or you're welcome to drop them off at my house and I will get them there. We don't know how much cold weather lies ahead, maybe none. But if none, they can keep them till next year. But they need things to give to people who come asking for help. So our food pantry is helping a lot of people, even a dog named Junior, to get through life a little bit better. So just remember that. And anything you can donate, you're welcome to bring to my house if you can't get it up there. Thank you. Next slide. Remember, we are all one. We hope you will join. There's a link in the newsletter and there's a link on our website. It's a very simple form, but we want you to be able to participate fully in the life of the church and vote on important things that will be coming up in the not too distant future. A lot of ways to connect with us. We are on social media. Very active. Check out our webpage. It stays current. It's a great webpage if you haven't checked it out. And be sure to sign up for our newsletter if you have not done so. Feel free to contact us anytime with suggestions, ideas, constructive criticism. We welcome anything. This is a lay-led church, so everyone is equal and having a part of how the church moves forward. And we do need your donations. We need financial support as well as other support. So please remember to give to Wedgwood so that we can keep things like our food pantry going, so that we can help the homeless people that need our support, especially during cold weather times. So please don't forget to financially support Wedgwood Community Church. Thank you. And now Ryan will lead our extravagant welcome.
We are all welcome here. Welcome to a church that works for peace, justice, equality, and the care of Mother Earth.
We are all
welcome
welcome here.
Here.
An extravagant welcome to you because of your gender identification, sexual orientation, ethnicity, economic situation, physical and mental challenges, doubting or believing, being depressed or full of joy.
We are all welcome here.
Here.
We are a community of curious and creative spiritual seekers, striving to learn and embody the way of Jesus and other spiritual leaders. We are all welcome here. Like Jesus, we focus on the plundered and the marginalized as we try to address the major issues of our day. We
are all welcome
here. One of the ways we seek to heal the world and ourselves is through sharing parts of our personal story.
We are all welcome here. We come now to a time of celebrations and concerns. Just so you know, Laura is with us this morning, but she and Jim have had COVID this week, as has Ryan, and Ryan is still testing positive for COVID, but feeling much better. So we are glad that you guys are here with us today.
Mhm.
Anything you want to share from your experience?
Get vaccinated.
I'm just glad to be back to where I can sit up for an hour and and listen to something. So glad you're all here.
Definitely get vaccinated. It wasn't nearly as bad as some people.
Get vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a
Betsy,
dermatologist this week and she
Oh.
found a squamous bump in my eyebrow.
ooh,
So I'm going to have to go for a surgery in the middle of February.
okay. Okay, I'm sure that will go well.
I'll look different.
Yeah. Betsy will not be joining us now. She is working on Sundays. So if you get a chance, reach out to Betsy and let her know how much we're going to miss her and hope she will join us whenever she can. You know, we all listened to the news of the court case this week, the lawsuit with $82 million. But I thought about there are so many sexual assault victims who never got any kind of peace, never any kind of recognition for what they have been through. And it goes across the gender spectrum, male, female, transgender, it doesn't matter. So let's be sure and lift them up this morning and not forget. And we may be happy how that turned out, but there are so many more out there that we need to remember. And then next Sunday, we have someone who's going to speak to us about domestic violence, which is along those same lines.
And I also wanted to mention the ICJ ruling Friday. While
Yes.
it did admit that there is some evidence that Israel is leaning towards some genocidal tendencies, I guess, or actions, they stopped at directly calling it a genocide, and they also stopped short of calling for an immediate ceasefire.
Yes.
So it's kind of a toss-up. The Palestinian people themselves are a little, are I don't want to say a little, are very disheartened with the ruling. They pretty much they don't really see a way out, honestly. And we just need to keep pressure on our politicians, boycott where we can to those that are supporting this continuation, and just kind of and I guess be mindful.
We spoke to our South African friends last week, and they are originally from Baltimore, but they've been in South Africa for 4 years, and they say that all of their South African friends are constantly asking them, what is wrong with America?
Yeah.
Why is America supporting the actions and the what they call genocide? They don't understand how we can live with such hypocrisy for being the nation for freedom and for for peace and for but they said they're constantly being asked to explain this.
And there are no words.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten to the point that I'm just at a loss of words when I go to Canada. I'm asked by so many people, what is going on? What is wrong with the people in the States that they can't see what's happening? And I'm just at a loss of words.
It's not the regular people, it's the people in charge. We can see it.
Mm-hmm.
We can see it. It's easy to see. It's not hard to see. So it's not, they have to understand it's not us. They say, oh, that's your president. No, it's not. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't agree with what they do sometimes, like when Trump was president. So that's your president. No, I didn't vote for him. No, I don't agree. I'm just here
Yeah.
for the country.
Any other concerns or celebrations? I rejoice in having a wonderful trip, a wonderful time with my family that I see twice a year, and that I survived minus 36 degrees Fahrenheit and came back fine to nice warm spring weather. So I'm happy that I got to make that trip and that I made it safely and that I am home, and it's great to see all of you guys this morning.
I'm glad you made it back too.
My younger brother has gotten a clear diagnosis after being diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, which is a killer.
Yes.
But he fortunately was diagnosed. They caught it early when they were looking for something else. But he had major surgery, and much of his insides were removed. but it's been a year now, and he's adapting as well as can be expected, and they are just doing 6-month checkups now. So that's positive news. He's my younger brother, but he's 70. So younger is relative, right?
That's great news. That's great news. Any other? All right, in the spirit of Wedgwood and our many different beliefs related to prayer, we will have a few moments of silence for prayer, for meditation, for self-reflection, however you would like to use this time. Amen. The topic that I chose for today is living in mystery. I just returned from a trip to what I call the cold, icy cold, frigid cold, white tundra of the north, where as far as you can see in any direction is snow. The temperature has got as low as minus 36 Fahrenheit. And in the stillness of the frigid night, when everybody else in the house was gone to bed, I would often get up and stand at the window and look out at the beautiful snow, at the moon as it reflected in the snow. The houses were all dark, maybe a street light here and there. Often the snow was silently falling. There was a huge white jackrabbit that stayed near their house. And sometimes I would see him or her out at night, pure white, difficult to see because of the camouflage of the white. I see him in the summer and he's brown, but he turns white in the winter, comes out in the snow because he knows he's protected more because he's white like the snow. One evening I saw a very beautiful large skunk run across the street. Another night I saw a porcupine moving around. And I wondered, how do they survive these frigid nights? And why are they out there? And how does that jackrabbit know he's white and safer in the white snow? How does he change from brown to white when winter comes to camouflage him? How does it happen? How do they know how to survive? How do they know to burrow under the ground? How do they find food? When I return in the spring or summer, the snow's going to be gone, and the world of Canada will be more wildflowers than I've ever seen in my life. Flowers and green grass everywhere, and the jackrabbit will once again be brown. How does everything survive? How do the plants survive under the deep, frigid snow? How does the light and warmth of the sun cause them to rise above the ground when the sun and spring come? How often do I look at these things? I know that I've missed so many of these simple miracles because my mind was always trying to figure out other things in life. Sometimes we bury our head in questions that don't really have any answers. My favorite poet, Mary Oliver, explores this paradox of living in her poem called Mysteries. I was drawn to this poem in particular because of the theme. Oliver explores the beauty of the world around us. She celebrates the fact that life is just difficult to pin down to facts all the time. When I first read the poem, I was already far from a fan of uncertainty. I like to have answers to everything. But as I grew older, I learned sometimes there are no answers. And I could sense that Oliver was onto something. How often do I move too quickly to take in the countless mysteries too marvelous to be understood in our lives? We get comfortable, the steady growth of our houseplants, and just take it for granted. We rarely look at a full plate of food and contemplate the wonder that that full plate of food started when somebody planted a little tiny seed. Now, mysteries. Mary Oliver. Truly, we live with mysteries too marvelous to be understood. How grass can be nourishing in the mouths of the lambs. How rivers and stones are forever in allegiance with gravity. While we ourselves dream of rising. How two hands touch and meet at random times, and suddenly there are bonds that will never be broken. How people come from delight or the scars of damage to the comfort of a simple poem. Let me keep my distance always from those who think they have all the answers. Let me keep company always with those who say, look, and laugh in astonishment and bow their head, noticing the dandelion that's come up through the crack in the concrete. Truly, we live with mysteries too marvelous to be understood. It's so easy to go about our lives and our world, relegating every encounter to the realm of the familiar. Everything can begin to feel mundane and known and uninteresting. In our minds, we name things, we label things, we categorize things, and we move on thinking, yeah, we know about our lives. Yet we've missed something very essential. Though we may have known a person for a lifetime, each new encounter with that person, each new moment is a new world. A familiar walk that we take every single day can be new to us if we must take time to notice. Every square foot of ground, each new breath, the passing moment itself is a universe of marvels just waiting for us to pay attention in awe and wonder to the mystery. That's when we discover the mysteries once again. Let me keep my distance always from those who think they have all the answers. It's nice to have answers. They give us a sense of security and certainty, solid ground maybe. But answers should be grasped very loosely and occasionally allowed to slip away as we follow our journey of mystery. Let me keep company always with those who say, look, and laugh in astonishment and bow their heads. Those who stand in awe and wonder of the mysteries of life. And now, as I had mentioned in our newsletter, I'd like for us to talk about this. How do we deal with the mysteries of life? Some of us like to have all the answers. We don't feel secure until we really know and everything's explained, perhaps by science or by some other aspect. How do we deal with the mysteries of life? I love her quote. let me keep my distance always from those who think they have the answers. And Wedgwood is very unique and very different in that we don't claim to have all the answers. There are many churches, many communities out there who will tell you they have the answer, and that perhaps the church down the street doesn't have the answer. We're a little different here. We know we don't have the answers, but how do we learn to live with the mysteries of life? And I believe the questions were, do you believe in some organizing energy, a higher power, God? There are an infinite number of names for this. So don't let these three suggested limit you. I heard one recently called soul force. We often think of Mother Nature as well. What name do you use, or no name at all? How do you live with the mysteries of life?
I have several names that I call the higher power. I say the Creator, Mother, Father, God, Spirit Guide, angels. A lot of different things, and I think I'm getting better as I get older and dealing with the mysteries of life. Some things, like you say, cannot be explained. And I'm getting to the point where even though it can't be explained, I accept it, trust that whatever that is at that time is the way it's supposed to be, and it will unfold and it will make sense maybe later, maybe never. But sometimes you have to wait a little bit and have faith and just let it unfold, even though it looks like it may be a disaster or it's not something that you planned or wanted to happen. And you let things unfold and you see like why certain things happen. It's like, oh, okay. So I guess you would have to have faith and trust in your higher power that he, she, it is doing what's best for you and you're on your journey.
My husband is very much a science person, so he always goes to science to explain things. But I can hear the scientific explanation and still say, but how?
Yeah.
But how? But why?
Yeah.
And if you're a person that has to have answers, it's challenging to live in a world of mystery.
Like you ask yourself sometimes, like when a baby dies or a baby gets hurt, and you say, why take the baby? You know, what the baby just got here. Why take the baby? And those questions cannot really be answered. You don't know why the baby had to die, and the baby's so sweet. The baby just got here, whatever the situation is, or the baby got cancer or something that you don't want the baby to have. You know, so that's a mystery. Why does that happen? You say, well, why God? Why? You know. And there is a reason. We may not know that reason. God got a reason why. Sometimes babies are born to not stay for a while. Each soul has their purpose and their duty. So who knows what that little baby's duty was supposed to be and just stay for a short while.
I had an exchange on Facebook with somebody I did not know. And I think they thought I was being snarky, but I really was trying to figure out how they thought about something. What they were explaining was that their father had been in an explosion at work and had been badly injured, but God intervened and saved his life. And so my question was, well, why didn't God intervene and prevent the explosion? And they thought that I was being sarcastic or something, but that you can't really discuss this. People who have very fervent beliefs, you can't really talk about it as if it's a rational belief that there's an explanation. Why God intervened and saved my brother from illness. No, that's not how I think about it, but many people do. And so and since it's football weekend, it's amazing to watch all of these football players who seem to think that God cares who wins a football game. You know, I hope that God is busy, and not worry about who's going to win a football game. But they seem to think it makes a difference,
Mm.
to pray for intervention. So I don't know. I I just end up avoiding all of those conversations because I can't participate. I I I come to my rational self, um, and but I think I'm probably a confirmed agnostic. I don't know. I don't understand. And if we all live the best life we can live, that's all we can do. And regardless of what else is happening out there in the world, we just try to be the best person and live the best life that we can.
Yes, that's the bottom line, Tomas. That's the bottom line, really. And people have their different way and different perceptions of God and life and all of that. And I let them have their perception the way they want to see it because that's their the right to see it that way. If they see it that way and that gives them faith in whatever it is that works for them, then it works for them. Because some people don't say God or Creator. Some people just meditate. Don't say anything, any particular person or figure. They just meditate. So if that resonates with their spirit and their soul, then that's okay too. That's how I look at it. Just
Let me
And
paraphrase a
Tomas,
poem that I
you're
wrote.
right. You can't have these conversations with just anybody.
No.
And that's why I thought this was a good conversation for Wedgwood because that's who we are. Because trying to talk to some other people, they just couldn't understand. They have the answers. And it's hard to discuss it with other people. So this is a good Wedgwood discussion.
Let me paraphrase a poem that I wrote in 2005. All that is now. Only the past is forever, and the future is always changing.
Yeah.
We live in a shared moment. The good news is that we're in it together. The bad news is the same.
That's good.
Yeah, we're all in it together, and we just treat each other right. Whatever person crosses your path in any situation, just do the right thing. That's how I look at it. You don't need a God or a guidance to do that. It's already there if you pay attention. You know what's right.
Yeah.
When you say something wrong to someone, you shouldn't have said that. When you saying mean things to someone, maybe underneath their breath or in a podcast or whatever. You know that you shouldn't have said that. You know. And some people just don't care. That's my opinion. I can have my opinion. Yeah, but you're not supposed to be hurting people with your opinion. So we know what we're supposed to do. I believe that. We just decide to do what we want to do.
And I think love is one of the things that's hard to have an answer to. Uh, I mean, I think of when I met Larry and it was just instant between both of us. But why? I can name his characteristics. I can name big science person, all these kinds of things. But I know other people who are science people. I know other people who garden. I know other people who have the same characteristics. There's some hidden force there. I mean, there's something there that connects you to certain people that are there forever. A friend. It doesn't have to be a partner. That to me is a mystery. And I don't think science can explain it, but it just happens.
And all you can do is go with it.
Go with it.
We are in this human form, this body, this tangible vessel. But inside this vessel, this light. We are light. So when this vessel goes back to the ground and we're left with our soul, the soul is light. So your light recognized his light. So it's
Yep.
and light is energy. So it recognized the same type of energy. I may like gardening and cooking and whatever else that Larry likes, but I might not have that same energy.
Yeah.
It's a different energy that you connected with his energy. His energy recognized yours. So it's like the light recognized the light. That's how I look at it. We're energy. We're made up of energy. That's why the moon affects us and the water affects us and the atmosphere affects us and the trees affects because we're part of that energy. You know, if we didn't have this body, we would have just energy, light. So his light recognized your light, and that it was a beautiful thing. And that's how it happened.
One of the things that I was engaged with the Unitarian Church in Asheville and Baltimore for a while, and one of their belief statements is we believe in the inherent worth of all individuals.
Mm.
And when I tried to get people to explain that to me, it was challenging because I said, you really think that every individual has inherent worth? You know, how do you account for evil? How do you account for people that are evil? Are they inherently worthwhile? So it's a very difficult concept for me to grasp, is the inherent worth. I can see it at babies. I can see babies have inherent worth, but beyond that, there's some adults that don't seem to me that have inherent worth,
Mm.
that are good actors in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what that means exactly, but that's a belief statement that, you know, has lived in that church for centuries.
Yeah.
But I don't understand it.
Yeah. You know, I don't have, I mean, there are people who go to church and do not believe, say, for the Bible they have to be told what the Bible says and what it means. Whereas I'd rather read myself and decide what I believe it means. And I don't have a big religious background, but I don't have to be told everything to believe. And I'm okay with mystery. I'm okay with things I can't explain. It doesn't bother me, but perhaps in other people, it's just inherent that they can't handle mystery
Hmm.
and not knowing or not having an answer.
I think I sometimes stress myself out because I want to know what's going to happen in the future. Like, I want
Yeah.
to know, like, is this going to happen, or is that going to happen? Am I going to be like this or that? And I make up some crazy story in my head how it might be, and then I stress myself out when
Yeah.
I think it might be up there. Like, how? Why are you doing that to yourself? You don't know what's going to happen up there. You know, in the future, like Tom said, the past is gone, the future hasn't happened yet. So we're right here, right now. So I'm learning. I have to remind myself, I'm learning. Just let it be. You're right here, right now, and everything's good. You're okay. You're safe. You're safe right now. Don't worry about what's gonna happen 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, next year down the road. Just right now, everything is all right. Everything's gonna be all right. Everything is all right. So I have to remind myself because my mind will still go and start worrying. I just tend to do that. Maybe because it was my childhood, not having a foundation and being in the foster homes and not knowing if I'm going to stay, I'm going to leave, am I going to go, where I'm going to go, what school am I going to? Maybe it's because I didn't have nothing settled. I think that has something to do. I was never really settled. So you think something else is going to happen, you're not going to be settled. It's going to be taken away. You know. So I think that it comes from that. So I have to remind myself, you're good. You're good. You're good. I wanted to go back, Melba, real quick to the mysteries of nature. Those are beautiful mysteries. I don't need to know really. It's just beautiful the way it is. God figured it out. The Creator figured it out. And it's beautiful the way it is. Like the bunny's white, the bunny's brown. It's still a bunny. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
The birds do their thing. The flowers do their thing. The trees do their thing. I just find it just the water does its thing. The sun, the moon, the stars, everything has its order, and they're following their jobs, doing their jobs, and it's just beautiful just to see how it all just happens. The craziness around us in the world, there's wars, there's hurricanes, there's this and that, and the atmosphere and the animals it just keeps on going. It just keeps on doing its thing. The bear still hibernates and he wakes up and he wants to eat, and the salmon still go upstream, and that's the beautiful part. I don't really need to know why it goes upstream. It's amazing that it goes upstream. It's a little hard to go upstream, but it's doing it for a reason, to go get the eggs and to do its thing with the eggs. So I don't need to know and understand all of that. It's just it's beautiful that it has its order. I like the order of it.
All in wonder.
Oh,
Just enjoy it in
enjoy
all
it.
in wonder, and don't worry about the
How it
mystery of it.
happens, yeah.
Well, the mystery is real.
It is.
I mean,
Yes.
duh, it is a mystery how everything works. When we look at the starlight at night, we realize that that light,
Yeah.
those photons that are hitting our retina have been in transit for maybe millions of years.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's all part of now. Now is huge. Everything is a lot. And our minds can't even grasp it.
No.
Einstein was close, but I can't follow Einstein.
And they claim that most of the stars that we see no longer exist.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right,
Oh, that may be, but I have no way of knowing.
right. But we see their light that's been traveling for millions of light years. The stars are gone. They're already burned out.
Yes.
It could be,
We
but
won't see that.
there's galaxies being reborn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go figure.
And what
Right.
about the phases of the moon? How it's full, and then it's half, and then it's a quarter, and then it's a perfect crescent. The
Yeah.
crescent is perfect. You
And
can't,
how it connects to the tides.
how it connects to the tides, and how the moon affects the female. It's a beautiful thing. I
It
don't have to
is.
know it all. It's already designed and well designed. I don't need to ask the questions too much. But you do wonder, though. You do wonder, how's it all work and why does it work? But it's all right as long as it works.
Well, some of our colleagues quite a few years ago figured out how the tides are affected by the moon. So, I mean, people, individuals, figure that stuff out.
Yeah, they do.
And they wrote it down and they told their friends about it. I mean, that stuff does not come from so-called God. It comes from people that have studied God.
Figured it out. And they themselves asked the question, where are the stars? What do they look like? I mean, whatever questions that they asked to come up with how's the moon phases affect, the earth and the water. So yeah, you can figure that out. But if it's too intense, you don't want to figure it out, it's cool. Sometimes it's too intense.
I worked for a long time in optical fiber. I started in 1977 in optical fiber when it was a baby. They didn't even know if it would be a viable product. And it, of course, is what has created the internet.
Yeah.
There would not be enough copper in the world to support the current internet, but for optical fiber. One of my bosses was a really smart guy. A lot of my bosses were really smart guys. And he had a phrase, the best way to predict the future is to invent it.
Mm.
And we invented the future back in 1977.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So the past is connected to the future, but it's through the present.
And that's a mystery itself.
Yes. Yes.
How it's all connected. It's all connected. Past, present, future. Yes. We can go around and around and around.
And Ashanti has a beautiful song for us this morning.
Yes, talking about the mysteries of the world and the mysteries of nature. And it reminds you of the water and the summer breezes and the jasmine in the air. And this song reminds me of a summer breeze and a summer atmosphere. And it sounds so beautiful that you can actually picture it. And it's called Summer Breeze by Seals and Croft. That was also had a remake by the Isley Brothers in the 70s.
Perfect. Perfect ending.
Thank you.
Now our closing. Perhaps some of us here have outgrown mystery. Maybe you have doubts about Santa Claus. Or maybe you have forgotten the magic of a newborn child, or the first flowers of spring, or a fresh snowfall. One might easily lose touch with awe and wonder and the struggles we all have to simply survive. But hear now this invitation. Open yourself to surprise today. Be ready to greet unexpected delights. Look for them along the way, wherever you go, even on the mundane paths you take every single day. What star will shine on you tonight? What child will remind you that all can be touched by awe and wonder and mystery? What gifts can you give? How will you join this holy, mysterious journey? Amen.
We extinguish this flame, but we keep the light in our hearts with this message of love and justice as we take it outside of these walls into the world in which we live in. Until we see each other again, Amen, Ashe, and may it be so. Go in peace.